Hey, welcome to Mike's Trains. This will be the second part of this Kitbash. And last time we put all the floors together, the Roundhouse, the machine shop, and since then I've gone and I've painted this the same way I did this to start. And all I did was I used cheap Home Depot paint. I think it was called Heirloom White. I painted the whole thing white, and then I took a gray primer and I just misted over it. And now I'm going to take some chalks. These are artist chalks I got for cheap at Hobby Lobby, and I ground them all up. And I have a gray. I have sort of a dark rust color. This is another shade of gray. I have white, and I have almost a black here. And then I have a couple of these makeup sponges, and this is how I did this side. So let's go and get this to look like this. So I'm going to start with the dark colors, and all I'm going to do is just dip this in here, and I'm just going to brush like this. And I'm not going to get fancy with it or anything. We're just going to brush it around and just darken this up a little bit. Not going to worry too much about getting too dark or anything. It really doesn't matter. Here, let me put some on here. And we just want to brush this, rub it right in. Now most of this you won't see, but if somebody does happen to stick a head in and try to get a look-see what goes on in there, it can, you know, I want to make sure that everything anybody sees is going to be covered. Now that's looking pretty good. Okay, we'll cover that one up, and then I'm just going to keep running through the colors. Put a little bit on here, and we'll brush that right in. And I like to go a little bit darker around where the trains are. Lay this right on top, and we'll rub it right in. Alright, so that'll go like that, and then we can kind of even this out some. So now I've got, this is sort of a greenish color, and more color is always good. I want it to look used, very used. Now we've got a good match all the way across. Now I kind of want to lighten up the areas in between the trains. And I'm going to take a clean sponge for this. And we're going to put this out in here. Okay, clean sponge, and we're going to just brush that in here and lighten up away from the trains. Okay, so now we have that, and I'm going to just finish brushing in over here. And I'm going to flip this over, and we're just going to blend that down. Like this. And that's it. And that's pretty well ready to go. I would rather have it a little darker in here. This is the machine shop. The heavy work would get done over here, so there would be more grease and dirt and things like that on here. Over here you would still have some work going on, but it wouldn't be as heavy, so it's a little lighter, but still has the appearance of having been there for a long time. So that's it. Now we're all weathered up. So now I'm going to take this down and I'm going to clear coat this so that we can't mess with the finish at all. And then once it's clear coated, we'll come back and we'll lay the tracks into all these spaces here. So we'll be back in a little bit. Alright, so now we're back. I clear coated this whole thing and it's dried. It's been a few hours now. I'm starting to put the tracks into the grooves here. Now I've done a few already, and I'm going to show you how to do. I've got the last two to do here. So, and you can see they're all overlapping here because I left them long. What we'll take care of these after. Let's get the rest of these tracks in. So what I have are the flex tracks, and I cut them exactly in half. I only need them to be 13 inches. Actually, it's less than that, but 13 was the overflow. So these are actually 15 because the flex track piece is 30 inches long. So just to make things easy, I cut them in half. And what I'm going to do is I have these like this. There's a little bit of rail showing right at the end of this, right here. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to flip it upside down, and fit it into the groove where it goes. I'm just going to make sure that the rails are pushed all the way up to the end there. I get my marker, get this set down in there like it's supposed to be, like this. And I'm going to look down in here and I'm going to find the last tie that I need to cut off, which is right here. This next one right here will pass by the floor, so we're going to leave that one in. I want to leave as many ties in place as I can. So what I'm going to do now is I have my mark. Now I'm going to cut off the webbing on the back right at that tie. And I'm going to start peeling these ties off. Now you have to do this kind of carefully. You don't want to twist and warp the rail up. So what I do is I lift it, I slide my finger under, and just keep moving along. And then you get this off of here. So now I have this tied. The tracks are like this, and this is why you don't want to get too many ties off, and I'm leaving them whole at this end. I'm leaving them whole at this end here because this is the end that has to go over the turntable, and I don't want to separate these until we're ready to attach it to the turntable. So now I'm going to push these together right in here, and those will go just like that. And see how my ties here pass right by the roundhouse floor. So now I'm just going to flip this over on my bench here, and we're going to take some CA. I'm using medium CA glue and a micro brush because I've done some already and my brush is kind of dried up now. Put some CA out on a paper here. So some medium CA, and I'm just going to run it down the bottom of the rails. Keep it close up to these ties here. And you want to cover the whole surface. All right. So now, put this down over here. Pull this closer. Now we can take this and we're going to set it into the grooves of the track. Like this. And then I have a small car here that I'm using to set the tracks and make sure I don't have any issues with spacing. I want to make sure that these are right, and I'm also using it to kind of push the rails down into the slot. So I'll just roll this back and forth until it's firmly in. And now you can see it fits, it rolls nicely. And then at this end, I just want to push these down and make sure they're firmly seated into place. And we'll hold that for a minute or two. And that's it. That's all it takes to get these in. It's very easy. Just make sure they're down and they're flush with the surface here, which they all are. And that's it for that one. Now the last one is a little bit shorter than the others. So that one's going to come over here. Now again, we talked earlier about how I don't want to have tracks coming out into the yard because we really don't have room to park cars back here. There's really not enough room to park a locomotive back here. So I'm only going to go even to the back end here. So I'm going to make sure my ties are even, my rails are even here. I'm going to set this down in the groove like this. I'm going to bring it right back to the edge. And then we're going to mark off the last tie that's going to clear the floor. Okay, so from this tie back, we're going to remove all the ties. So we have here, I'm going to cut here and here. And then we can start pulling these up. Alright, so there's that. And then this one's going to fit right in here, like that. Alright? So now we just need to glue up the bottom side of this. And that will go just like that. We'll put our car on top and just run that over the track. Make sure that seats all the way in, and we have nice smooth, run right back into the machine shop. And that puts all our tracks in place now. Now the only thing left to do is I want to cut these back. So the distance between this edge here and the roundhouse lip is 1 15/16, and I believe 1 15/16. Plus I think it's a 1/4 inch lip on the Roundhouse. So that's 2 1/4, 2 3/16. So I think if we cut these all off at 3 inches, I think we're good. So I'm going to take the rail cutters and I'm going to cut these off at 3 inches. That is that. So now we have our whole floor is done. Painted, weathered, and tracks installed. So I think we'll call this video done. And then next time we'll start working on getting the walls up. So for now, let's call this video done. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, you like what you see, please subscribe to my channel. Always good to have more subscribers. Visit my website if you haven't already as well. That's mikestrains.wordpress.com. I do upload there all the same stuff that's on YouTube, but occasionally I do a few, pictures and things like that of updates of my layout. So if you're interested in any of that, please subscribe over there for email updates. So until next time, happy modeling!